Another day, another set of levels to talk about. Oh my god, this is far overdue. Hello folks, this is my 12 favorite horror demons in the game. Now initially I didn't think about doing this one first because, well, I wasn't so sure about the list I had initially, but after some gathering of thoughts, thinking and such, I think I have one in which I can say it's pretty accurate. This one is definitely going to be the most interesting out of all the demon difficulty videos, as hard demons, I'd argue that's the least I know about. All the same stuff as the last two, all the same disclaimers. Remember folks, this is all my opinion. You do not need to agree with me nor come after my own thought because you disagree with one thing. It is okay to share your own opinions, so do share what are your favorite hard demons in the comments down below. No, I will not stop saying the same shit that I said again. I just need people to understand and function their brains. We should all do this with decency. Also, I will note, this will be the first time that I'll be including platformers into the mix. I thought about adding in platformers, but I wasn't so sure about it, and then I decided, yeah, you know what, why not? There's only 2 plats though, I'm not really well versed into platformers, although at some point I would like to go ahead and explore the mode more. Maybe in the future stream, who knows. Well, with that out of the way, let us begin. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry that this is taking so long, but I don't plan to take longer for the Insane Demon and Extreme Demon videos. This is a far overdue video. Okay, enough rambling, let's just begin. Well, it doesn't get much simpler than this. Yipee is indeed a typical standard hard demon, but it's a fun one at that. It doesn't do anything crazy, it's not chaotic, it's not overbearing, it's just a simple, fun, yet challenging hard demon. Look, I get many people may disagree with this, but sometimes it's okay to factor in one thing in specific over other things that you critique in a level. It's either that you like the level because it's visually appealing to you, or because the gameplay is fun. One can overpower the other, or it can just be one of the two. And as I said with this level, it's a fun one. Why? Because I really enjoyed playing it. It has fun gameplay. It doesn't get much more simple than that. It's also not really that bad in terms of decoration too, but I add. No, it's easy to understand how this is made, and this could be something one could build in the span of 2 weeks. Maybe a week, depending on how much time you spend together. Okay, well, let me just sum it up quickly. Yipee is a fun hard demon. One that I really like, and one that I would recommend you try out if you want something that's challenging, yet it's also easy to learn in a single day. Alright, there we go. Now moving on. Well, I've definitely opened up the nostalgia window with this one. This is quite the early 2.1 level. And you call this a disappointment? Man, get the fuck out of here. This is anything but a disappointment. In fact, this level, at least to me, is one of the most well-aged 2.1 levels in the game. I mean, sure, the decoration is a bit dated, but it's not bad. It definitely was at a time where 2.1 was a month old, and this would be considered quote-unquote good decoration. Especially when you compare it to today's standards. Like, look at this! Jesus! But such a dated decoration can add to the charm of the level. And I do think that's where the level shines. Now, not just in deco, mind you, but the gameplay as well. It also really lives up to the rest of the series, being a toxic chamber and high energy chaos. But it's done in a way where one can have fun playing this. And it's something that the Toxin Lab series has remained consistent all the way through. I will say, this is definitely my favorite of the series. Again, while dated, the decoration in this level is not that bad. The gameplay is also really good too. It's got that Zoro flair that I'm really familiar with. I really should consider doing a rebeat of this at some point. In the future maybe, but for now, those are my thoughts. I've always liked the Oriented stuff. It's just the way that he does animations that really add to his levels, and with 2.2 especially, you now have him using the absolute sheer crap out of the keyframe triggers. 2,000 plus for skeletal shenanigans, good god! I can't even do one! But anyway, Beat Demon, an old level that I have been familiar with ever since it released, which was the first level that he took off as a creator, and also the very first level that introduced me to him. Again, the animations of this level really add to it. They were as smooth as it was back then. And I really like the boss too, from how the spike just appears from the ground and then it transitions to its standard part, to its movements as it taunts you, and it eventually splits into four little guys, I guess. It's a really well-crafted boss fight, and it's one that I am honestly surprised it took me this long to even consider beating it. Again, I've heard about this level when it initially released, but I have not beaten it up until this video. Admittedly, in 2021, I was really not the experienced player. But yeah, Beat Demon is still really good to this day, and it's really cool to see how much he's grown as a creator. Oh, but I'm not done talking about Yipee just yet. I am so certain that this is not one of the plats you were thinking about when I mentioned that there would be 2 plats in this list, but this is indeed one of them, and it is as simple as I put it as to why it's in this list. It's genuinely fun as a platformer, and it is also really funny. Well, fun in the sense that it, conceptually, is an interesting challenge. See, you have to use Yord in order to progress the level. Take into account that you're a ball, so you need to hit him in order for your gravity to be normal. As you continue progressing, he'll start attacking once you cross the first checkpoint, and each checkpoint you cross, he'll have a new attack to go with it. Again, conceptually, it is an interesting challenge and very different from other platforms do. This is the kind of thing I really wish plats did more of. Something that isn't all room-based or needle-based, but something that feels explorative, puzzling, vanilla GD. Literally anything that is not just giving you a challenge in the form of a robot and then you have to face the challenge of where you have to go in between the spikes. Stop. See, I find interest in these kinds of platformers that are more like Ultra Yord or something completely different. And I do hope someone out there does something really interesting with this kind of stuff. Ultra Yord is great, and I do like its gimmicks and the challenge it brings along with it. Alright, now I'm done talking about Yord levels, let's move on. Another level by the misconceptualized group. I often look back at this level from time to time, and I get reminded that Zap is just a really cool level. Again, there's a lot of different stylized parts in the level, even if the type of level is different. It's distinct enough to complement the creators' style, but they all follow the same 2 colors and the theme electricity. The gameplay here is also really versatile, with the option to take the regular path or the coin path, and what path you take is entirely dependent for you to decide. Fights themselves are very balanced too. The difficulty is consistent, and it's not that complicated to learn either, although it is up to you if you want to get the coins or not. I'm not the one to judge. I quite like Zap and all of the other levels, but this and Scrap are the most prominent of the Geostorm collabs. Preferences be preferences though, and my opinions have indeed a bit changed. Holy shit, an Arcleo collab level that actually made it in the list. Yep. I do think amongst all the other levels, this one I really quite like a lot. Not comparable to Next Cap Soon, obviously, but definitely up there. As the name suggests, you are delving down in the undertides of the ocean, exploring the underneath. Okay, well, I don't know why I keep making up these scenarios. It's just most likely there's nothing else to it other than the fact that it's just a collab level in which Leah and the people involved wanted to make in a day. Speaking of which, yeah, all of this in a day with some fine-tuning later on, which, to be honest, I'm really glad they took the time to just fine-tune the level because they've done other 24-hour collab levels before, and one of them I really wasn't the biggest fan of. 24, that's the level that I'm referring to. I genuinely didn't like it. This definitely comes to show that they've definitely stepped it up a bit and take into consideration about the small bits of details and playability. And for the level that was done under the time constriction, this looks really good. It's expected, to be honest, you know, because it's likely a 0SR, their set of friends who are really good builders, but it's always something nice coming from those people. This level is really generic. It's nothing special, nothing really interesting about it. It's just something that you'd see from a typical design creator. Doesn't really do much else from there. Is what I would say if this wasn't actually in the list. Actually, while it is generic, it's intentional. You'll have to see a level that tends to have a similar side to it, just making good use of the standard blocks and spikes. And while I do get that this may not seem that interesting, I can't lie. The gameplay really carries it. Again, it's okay to factor in only one thing in specific when critiquing a level. And in Generic's case, similar to Fiber, but much older and honestly on a bigger scale. Generic is generic. While it doesn't really do much in decoration, it's made up for it with the intent, and the gameplay being just genuinely fun. I've always liked this level since 2020, and well, still here. Now is my 6th favorite horde demon in the game. When I think of something that does good in paying tribute to a long-gone member of the GD community, I often refer to this level. A tribute to Michigan and a representation of the temple series in its entirety, given updated visuals and being accurate to the kind of temple it's representing. It does a better job paying tribute than whatever the hell Rest in Peace by Pika attempted to do. The gameplay, I'm gonna be honest, it's not really my favorite, but it does well with matching the representation of the temple series. Like this ball here that you're familiar with in Lava Temple, jumping on the head monster in Forest Temple, and many other subtle yet noticeable details. I really do appreciate Temple of Time. It really does feel like it is being faithful to the series while having its own original ideas. And it is not done with the intent of doing it for attention. Again, let me refer to you to Rest in Peace. But it's doing it properly to pay homage to a long-lost but never forgotten member of the community, Michigan. I know, it's been 4 years since then, but I really hope he's doing well up there in the skies. We miss you, Michi. We really do. I am so glad Jam Attack didn't cave in with the popularity of Skeletal and gave it the win for his CC to a level that he was truly blown away by. Don't get me wrong, I do like Skeletal shenanigans more over Forgotten Metropolis, but in the list that both are featured in, they are placed in the same spot as one another. They're both 4th, so it's even Steven for them. Anyhow, Forgotten Metropolis. God, it's such a really cool level. This level really matches Jam's style really well. It's fairly similar to one another, but it's distinct enough to not be considered the same. The usage of colors here is really good, and it does match with the kind of place you're stumbling upon. Attempted cities made from the deep oceans to the glowing shining skies, and even in the depths of space, all three ultimately being forgotten cities made by the company Miracle. The story of this really feels interconnected with one another, and the gameplay, well, definitely a bit learny, but it's another really well balanced level. Again, nothing feels unfair. It's not that complicated to learn, and it does feel versatile in some parts. Well, that's just the beginning and the end, but still. Overall though, this level is fucking awesome. It is an experience that I think a newcomer wanting to beat hard demons will definitely enjoy. Do really play this if you really want something that's more on the harder side of things, but you also want it to be breathtaking, mind-blowing. A really nice experience overall. I've been tasting this rainbow level at 2020, and I honestly still like this level to this day. Like, very much. I'm a duel fanatic, and I'm one to think that you can do some pretty cool stuff with duels, be it technically advanced or something simple, and yet it just works well. Double Dash is one of those that goes on the more simpler side of things, yet, again, it works well. Really fun duels too. You may think it'd be a bit too complicated to focus on both of them, but no. A majority of the time, you can actively pay attention to only one side. And there are some points that even make it so that way you only pay attention to the one side, albeit for a small period of time. Also being the Rainbow fanatic here as well, it's mainly a lot of glow, color, and not really much beyond that, but again, this is a level that goes for the more simpler side of things, and it just works. I also really like the player color usage at some points too, they look really nice. And for something that I beat as my 100th demon, yes, I beat this as my 100th demon. I never had a recording for it until now. I am glad that I decided this one, being a game mode that I like and using it to its full advantage. And also, but that's just a small thing. Okay, well now here comes the ass kicker from Twitter. And honestly, I don't care. I really enjoy Space Invaders. I get that there's a big audience that really does not like the level due to the fact that the gameplay is very gimmicky and some of those parts don't really play that well. You know what? I'll give you that one. The moving platforms especially do suffer from this quite a bit, but past that though, the orbiting planets, the drop parts, the climax, even the robot after the first cube, I really like those parts. And decoration, I mean, come on. It's a pixel-style level combined with the stars of both Mannix and Laserblitz, two of some of the most famous creators from 2.0. And it's a mix of three worlds into one. And considering that both Mannix and Laserblitz have done collabs in the past before, this definitely feels like a climax of the two's collab levels. So yeah, brief and simple. While gimmicky, I still really do enjoy this level. It's gonna be hard to learn at first, I cannot deny that, but it's very fun once you get it all down. To this day, I'm honestly still kinda shocked that this level placed 2nd place for Best Expert Classic in the GD 2024 awards. I thought I'd get 5th at most if I'm being honest. I definitely expected Kamasos to win, but those results, they told me otherwise. I guess it does come to show that even in today's standards, Mannix and Laserblade still got it. Now, had I strictly made this all classic levels, Space Invaders definitely takes the #1 spot easy. But considering that I tossed in 2 platformers in the mix, it does end up here in 2nd. Which now begs the question. You've shown 10 classic levels and 1 platformer. Where's the other one? Well, it's right here, at the #1 spot. But I don't even think you can call this a level. It definitely feels a lot more like a game rather than a level. It does seem a bit cheating to call this my favorite horror demon in the game when it's not really platforming based, but I feel as if at this level, it introduces a new type of platformer that I would like to call a platformer game. And I like the idea of classifying them as such while being accurate to the in-game difficulty. Now for the game itself. This is gonna be very long, so be prepared. This game was inspired by Balatro, being a play smart with the cards in your deck kind of game. It follows a similar format. You have to reach a specific number of influence, this game's term for quota. The more you succeed, the higher the influence gets, and failure to meet the expectations of influence within 3 turns, you'll need to start from scratch again. The objective is to expand the dead god cult to fulfill its wish of bringing it back to life. Continue doing exhibitions, you'll gain followers. Gain 1,000 total, you've succeeded, thus terminating your contract with hell. Now because I played Balatro first before this, I already had a good idea of how this mechanic works. But the core gameplay of it all is original. There's not only the influence you have to worry about, but also your faith, this game's term for mana, energy. As the cards in your deck cost a specific number of faith for it to be used. It doesn't replenish unless you play a card that does replenish it, or until the turn ends. Sticking with what you have will also not help you out for a long while. As I said, the influence will only grow higher the more you succeed, so you'll need to do a lot of upgrading to keep going. You'll need to reforge your card, to increase your chances of a good card, the amount of cards you pull, the amount of faith you'll have at the start. All of this is really hard to get at first, but once you start having a good idea of it, then that's where the fun can truly begin. I think it goes without saying, Dead God Cult is really fun. A lot of original ideas with some bits of inspiration, and will definitely keep you hooked wanting to think about the next best move. And for a level that has under 60k objects, this looks really good. I really like this game, and it's one that I consider to be my favorite hard demon in the game. Okay, well I see this classification makes it a bit harder for me. My favorite hard demon in Geometry Dash. There we go. Well, that last one was really a mouthful, but at last, we have reached the end. As I said before in the previous videos, there's a good chance this may change in the future, so if it does, I'll just make a YouTube post about it. Not a Blue Sky post, I've stopped using it for some reason. Again, I'm sorry this took so long. I don't really have a work ethic, I just upload what I want to upload, and the majority of the time it ends up being a quick video. So, I'm glad to finally have this video done though, as I really wanted this to be done. With that, I end the Hard Demon video here. Thanks for watching, and hopefully to see you in the next 2-3 months-ish for the Insane Demon video and the Extreme Demon video. I make no promises though, it's gonna be up to me. See y'all in the next one.